All right, go ahead, hit that, and go ahead, open up. Hi, welcome to KSOE on another Tuesday, you guys. Welcome back, welcome in the room. Just want to welcome everybody in. Hello, Facebook. Hello, TikTok. Hello, you guys. We're back with Sewing with Moxie. And I just wanted to say my hello. Hi, Brooklyn. Hello, person on Lawana's Live on Facebook. But I just want to say welcome to KSOE. I'm going to turn it over to your host, Ms. Lawana Miles. See you guys after the show. All right. Good evening, everybody. We are back. Thank God we are back. Still got a little crunchiness in my voice, but we are here. Hoping all is well with you. In your world, it's a lot of people that are not feeling their greatest. And so we just hope that you are well. We are in the middle of doing a pant block. And we starting with a man's pant block, a man style block. But when we first started off doing pants, it was no women pant. It was a man's pant. And then you, of course, with your measurements, being inputted, of course, because everything was custom fit when we started first wearing pants. You're talking about women have not been wearing pants for very long. It wasn't until the 40s and the 50s that women really started wearing pants. And so we started off wearing men's patterns, using a man's pattern. It wasn't really a male or female pattern. So go ahead, you can unplug that, it should be fine. But there was necessarily no male or female pant. And so it's all about taking your measurements and plugging them into building this pattern. Okay, and so we have taken our measurements. There are 4 measurements that you would need for this particular style, this particular pant block. It was your waist measurement, your hip measurement, your crotch depth measurement, and your outseam measurement, which would be your from your waist down to your hemline. So those were the 4 measurements that we needed to get this pattern started. There are videos that will take you from the beginning. We're actually in the middle. We're going to be completing the front pant block, and we're going to be moving on to the back pant block. And so we're not going to go recap everything, but if you are interested, you can always go to KSOE to the page on Facebook where the videos will be, and you can get it from there and start from scratch yourself. Or you could just keep jumping back in each week. We do build on the topic. So we're going to continue on and finish the front. And so we can go ahead and get this back pant pattern done so we can separate it and get ready to cut and do our first sample fit. Okay. So, I need you to position that phone if you can so that they can kind of get an overshot of what we're doing here. I'm going to angle it down. I have tried my best to make sure that we had enough lighting and that you could see everything.
Come from this side?
It probably needs to be okay? It probably needs to be
up there,
up top. You could. It's actually a socket underneath the table.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So, okay. So we have divided all the measurements up. Let me turn you around. Yeah.
Sorry, TikTok. We're just moving you around.
Yeah. Make sure it's not plugged in the wall or caught up or anything.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I just want to say, it's like doing, when you're starting something off new, you're gonna run into things that you didn't know that were going to happen. Like the unknown is inevitable when you're starting something new. And you can probably put it up on the table, babe, because they're not going to see nothing over there. But it is inevitable to run into different issues as you're going along, but they're not really issues. These are learning moments, right? Moments for you to learn. And when you're going live, it's kind of, you kind of go along with the journey. You go along with the journey. And so if you're doing a live, if you've been doing some lives, you know there was a start. You started off and there were a lot of bleeps and blunders, a lot of things that you,
Is that too up?
no, it needs to come down. So
like that?
So the paper.
Is it okay?
Yeah, I don't want the camera to be in the way.
Like they can see the paper. Can you see the paper? Yeah, they can see you. They see you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like we were saying, like I was saying, there are things that you're going to learn along the journey as you are perfecting and evolving your space. And so there's a lot that I've been learning here. And you can only work with what you have. Trina, just put it up on the table, huh? Put it up on the table here. Yep. You can even pop it that way and just twist the camera this way. All right. Here we go. You all can see the top. Yes, okay. That's what I want them to see. And I want them to see the top because that's where we're working. That's kind of where we're working right now. Yep.
Okay, in the back of you?
I'm fine. I am fine. All right. Tearing my book up. That's what I'm doing. Okay, you guys, give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and adjust myself here, and we'll be getting started. All right. All right, so we ended last week finishing off the first part of the front pattern, the front pant pattern. And as I was saying last week, it's almost like a connect the dots. Once you take your measurements and you break them down in the way you're dividing your measurements, and it's only 2 measurements that we're really dividing. We're dividing our waist and our hip measurement. You have circumference measurements, and the circumference measurements are the measurements that go around the body. When you're talking about going around the body, then you're going to be, for the most part, a tape measure is the only thing that's going to allow you to get a measurement around the body because it literally wraps around the form, right? You're not going to be able to use a straight ruler. Girl, you're not going to be able to use a straight ruler to really measure. So you need a flexible tape measurement to get some of the measurements. For these pants, you only need your waist and your hip measurement. And so again, your tape measure is going to take care of that, right? So my measurements, after I took my waist and my hip measurement, then of course it had to be broken down into fourths. Why do we break it down into fourths? Because you're talking about the body. Low battery. You're talking about the body is divided into fourths. The pattern it's not a whole, it's 2 pieces, one pattern piece for the front and one pattern piece from the back. And that is actually going to be cut 2 for the front, cut 2 for the back to complete a whole front. And why do you do that? Your front, you're generally identical front, two pant legs in the front, 2 pant legs in the back. If you look at your pants, you have this side seam here. This divides the front from the back. This is your front pant pattern. This is the back pant pattern. So when you're doing your pattern pieces, you've got to have a front and a back. Thus, that creates the side seam. Now, sometimes you have pants that are designed where there's no side seam. Well, that's intentionally designed that way. So we're talking about just your basic pants. There's going to be a side seam, a front pattern, and a back pattern. Okay. And so now we've completed pretty much. I'm just going to show you from the book what the front looks like completely hashed out. So this is where we left off last week. And we completed the whole front pattern piece. Okay. I'm going to kind of bring it up a little bit closer here so you can see here. And then I'm going to bring it up closer here. We've completed this first half. And now we're going to go ahead and complete the back. And as you can see, it's just a series. It's going to be a series of steps and numbers. And I'm going to be, we're going to have to bring them down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just go step by step. And hopefully you guys can follow along. Again, you can always, if it is something.
That's too far?
Yeah, it really just kind of far away. Just bring them up on the table. Like, take this tripod,
put it down,
bring this up, and then drop that down. Yeah, as far down as you can get it. Yeah. I need to go.
Come on, let me help you, Wanda. Let me help you.
Here, lock it. Just lock it, right? Because it'll stay from here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. That is better. I'm trying to get you guys to see here. I'm trying to everybody to see this piece of paper. Okay. Yeah. So getting back to our measurements. Okay. So last week we stopped on L to R. And so to show you all L to R, this is L to R. L to R, to create this, we took 1/4 of an inch. It was minus 1/4 of an inch. And so shifting from this line, this grid line here over to R, and then you're drawing a line to match L to R to O. So this is going to be L, then this is R, and then you're going to match that back to O. And all of these grid marks, these were the steps that we took to get the front pattern. Each one of them had a letter. And it starts with A and goes all the way through, just like you're running through the alphabet. Each step has an alphabet attached to it. And so L and R, you know, if we're saying R, we've kind of gotten pretty far into the PANT pattern. But again, we're talking about we're finishing up the front. When we move over to the back PANT pattern, it's going to be all numbers. So you'll see that starting from scratch. Okay, so L to R, then we're going to match R to O. And just to kind of give you a reference point, the book I am using the Fundamentals of Men's Fashion Design. That is the book that I am using. You can always search this book out. It's a kind of old book. This was kind of written in the 70s. But when it comes to a pattern, nothing really changes. Your design is the thing that changes the pattern, but the basic block is what you're capturing. And I feel like that I always want to go back to the beginning and bring you all up to speed, but I'm not able to keep going all the way back to the beginning. So we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward. And again, if you want to go back and start from the beginning with this project, you can always look at the YouTube videos that'll be on Kingdom School of Effectiveness page. And then also on Luana Michelle Miles. If you go to my page, they're also posted there on Facebook, both on Facebook, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, R. So R to O is going to give you this shift. Now, when you look at it, if you look at this, this begins the crotch line. For anybody that's actually have sewn a pattern before, when you look at a pattern, the crotch, this is the crotch, right? That curve. This is where your closure, the front closure is going to be. Because most pants have a front closure, especially for men. It's a front closure. And so you have your zipper here or your buttons or however you choose to close to finish your front off. Generally, on an average, we'll just say with a zipper because that's what that's what we use on a general basis. When you think about your blue jeans, there's a zipper that we use to close the front. But this is where the crotch line is going to be, and that's where that zipper is going to be inset when you get ready to sew it. Just trying to give you some points of reference so when you're looking at it, you can say, oh, it can start making some sense. And for those of you that have sewn before and you've used a pattern, this should begin to look very familiar to you. Of course, this is going to look like your hip line on the side. This is going to be your seam line. This is going to be your crease line. So these things should start making some sense. This is the inseam, outseam. So kind of those are terms that are used When you're talking about working with patterns, working on patterns, building a pattern, these are some of the terms that you're going to use. Okay, so that was L to R, 1/4 of an inch. And then you're going to match, connect R to O, which gives you that from the straight front curve. Then O to Q equals connect O to Q to H with the sleigh curve. Okay, so we have a French curve. Most of us have a French curve. There's two different types of curves that we use when we're working on patterns. This is a French curve to do the crotch. And these are used for so many other things as well. You're talking about necklines, shoulder lines, hip lines. Those are the things that we use. Wherever there's a curve, you're going to need something like this. Then you also have your hip curve rulers. These are things that you use to actually put curves in your garments when you're building a flat pattern. Okay, so now I will say there is one more ruler just to show you curves. These are all to create curves, okay? These rulers go a long way back, y'all. They go all the way back to school with me. So, all right. So let's see if this curve works. Let me just try. Okay, so we've already gone R to O, and now we're connecting R to Q. Now, where did Q come from? This was a mark that we set. This is creating that crotch line. Some steps back again. We're not going to go back on the steps. But Q was a mark that we had to set. It's 1/3 of this pitch between these two letters here. And so this gives you your curve area. So now we're going to match the curve from O to Q, which was the mark. So pretty much there's your curve. And to finish it off, so you can have your whole curve, I'm going to go to this one because this is the one I actually plotted it with. So from O to Q and then to H. O to Q, which is the first part of the curve, and then from Q to H to finish it off. And that finishes off the crotch part of the pant, the front crotch. And then R to S is 1/4 of, which is the waist. So R to S here, let's go ahead and read that again. R to S, it equals 1/4 of the waist. And so again, I was talking about earlier how you have to take your circumference measurements and you just have to divide them into fourths. And so say, for example, your waist was 40 inches. Let's make it easy. 40 inches. Then you're going to divide that into a fourth. What would that be? That would be 10 inches, right? When you divide it into a fourth. Why? You divide it into half, even if you divide it into a half at first. If your waist was 40 inches and you divided that into a half, then that would be 20, right? 20 for the front, 20 for the back. And then to get even half of that, because you're talking about a fourth of the measurement, half of that is going to be 10. Exactly. And so then that would be 10 inches if that was our measurement. So we're going to measure across 10 inches, but it also says, you want to add 3/8 of an inch to the waist. Why do you want to add the 3/8 of an inch to the waist? That's for ease. Okay. That's for ease. Because if you take the measurement around your waist and you measure 35, 40 inches, when you get ready to actually put them on, you want a little ease. You don't want it to be super, super tight. You want it to give. You think about when you eat, your stomach blows up a little bit. When you, say, for example, you pick up a little bit. Your stomach, you may increase a little bit. So it just gives you more room for flexibility for real life. When you think about it, because a lot of times when we eat, our stomachs expand, and then after your food digests, your stomach goes back down. So you need ease in everything that you do. You can't just take a raw measurement and use that measurement and call that it. You have to think about real life. flexibility, movement. That's why stretch fabric is so important to people, because you don't have to worry about ease. It moves with you. It stretches with you. You don't have to think about, oh, I'm gaining weight, or I'm not gaining weight, or it fits or it doesn't fit. Because stretch will give you that extra, that ease will give you. So, ease. That's 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch. We have a cheat sheet, and it's called Google. If you look at an inch, pull up an inch on Google and take a look at the breakdown of an inch. What's 1/4 of an inch? What's 1/8 of an inch? What's a half of an inch? What's 3/8 of an inch? It'll show you what that looks like. If you have a ruler, of course, you can always... No, you're doing good so far. I think it's still charging. Okay, so, but if you look at a measuring tape, if you look at a ruler, then you can see that it's got these little hash marks. Let me get up so you get closer to you guys. You can see that it has these little hash marks in between. You all see that? See, it has these little marks in between. Well, each one of those marks represents a number, okay? The longer the hash mark, how can I say that? The longer the line, like the shorter lines, they're more like insignificant numbers. I hate to say it that way, but it really is. When you think about it, how many people are measuring 1/16? Not many people. But if you do 1/16 and 1/16, you're going to come up with 1/8. Now, 1/8 is a significant difference. When you're talking about pattern and you're talking about measurements and measuring things, then 1/8 of an inch is a bigger difference, makes a bigger difference than 1/16 of an inch. But when you're making your pattern, when you're measuring, if you're like a 16th off here, a 16th off here, and a 16th off there, then all of that adds up. And it begins to, if it's smaller, if you're not, if it's bigger, then it's not bad because you can take it back. But if it's shorter, if you're going 1/16 of an inch shorter, and it's like that all over the pattern, then you're going to find out it's going to be too small. If you're adding a 1/16 of an inch more, then it will be, you can take it down. That makes sense?
So you're saying go bigger, and then you can take down, but don't go small.
I'm saying go as accurate as you possibly can, but do not go lower.
Okay.
So if your measurement says 1/8 of an inch, 5 1/8, you want to make sure you're at least 5 1/8. You don't want to do 5 only and take off the 1/8. You don't want to do 5 1/16. Because now that's a 1/16 of an inch smaller. Now let's add it up. If you make it 1/16 inch smaller in your draft, remember that's 2 parts. So you've really made it 1/8 smaller. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Because you got 2 front pieces. And if they're both shorter,
you're adding both of them up.
Yes, then it's going to be missing a whole 1/8 of an inch.
Got it.
Now, if you did that to the back, then now you're missing a 1/4 of an inch.
Now your booty smashed.
Now your booty is smashed, just like she just said. That was really, really funny. But yes, so the numbers really, really matter. You want to be as accurate as you possibly can. And if the number is not jiving and you're like, because I'm going to show you my little cheat sheet here. This is my cheat sheet. This is my cheat sheet. Now, I want you to notice, and I know you're like, the numbers really matter. Okay, now look, I don't know if you guys are seeing this the way I'm seeing it, if it's coming along across backwards or forward. I am not sure.
It should be forward.
I'm not sure, but I'm just going to run it off. I'm just going to say it. They look the same. But what I'm going to say is 1/16 of an inch is 0.0625. And so when we were talking about the calculator and running your measurements through a calculator, this is one of your cheat sheets. You have calculators on your phone. This is an old school for the young folks that's watching that might not have ever seen a calculator for real. This is a calculator. This was the first cheat sheet before Google, okay? When it comes to figuring numbers out, right? And so if you want to divide, like we said, 40 was an easy number. We know 40 divided by 4 is 10. You're going to get 10 for that, right? But say, for example, your measurement was 35.5 or 35 and a half. 35.5 would be a half, right? 35.5 would be a half. And then you would divide that by 2, and your answer would be 17.75. Now, you could always ask Google, what is 1/4 of 35.5? And it would give you that number. Now, we just broke it down in halves, but it would give you the accurate number.
Are you using those numbers to incorporate inside of your pattern?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's translating. Once you take the measurement, then you have to break the numbers down. And mind you, again, we're still talking about your circumference measurements. And they're very, very important when you're talking about drafting a pair of pants or a skirt or drafting anything. You want the numbers to be as close to accurate as possible. You don't want the numbers to be too far off, because when you get to the end of the process, it's not going to fit. And so you're going to have to take it back. Now, with a pair of pants are very forgiving, you guys. Pants are actually an easy pattern to do because you're not dealing with that many pattern pieces. The most complicated part of doing a pair of pants is going to be the zipper, the fly.
You would not think that that's the complicated part.
Yeah, it's more pieces to doing the zipper and the fly, the closure, than it is to actually doing the pants. The pants is just front and back.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even think by looking at pants that the most complicated part would be the zipper.
The most complicated part in doing a pair of pants is going to be, let me add your waistband and your fly.
Now, the waistband I might understand.
Yeah.
But the fly, I just didn't think that would.
Yeah. Now, what's a fly? You all may be asking, what's a fly? Okay. Well, this part here is called a fly. This part here is called your fly. It's the fly on your pants.
You would think that would not be.
Oh, low battery.
Again?
Yep. But the fly here is the hardest part to do. And then the waistband, depending on how you do your waistband.
I truly didn't think that would be a problem. I thought that would be the least amount of thing. Why is that the hardest?
Because it's more pieces, for one. To sew up a pair of pants, you're only talking about, you have your out seam stitch. Once you stitched your side seams, that's the whole from the top to the bottom. That's flipping and all kinds of things that you'll have to do. So when it comes to sewing this piece up, you'll see what I'm saying. Right now, we're just getting through the pattern. And I know the pattern may seem very daunting. Working with numbers may seem a whole lot. But again, you all have cheat sheets today. Do not let the numbers stop you from pushing forward through anything. You can cheat all day long with stupid Chat GPT. Now, no diss to Chat GPT, no diss to AI, but your brain can figure this stuff out. Yeah. But if you don't feel like going through that, if you're working against the clock and you're trying to get something done quickly, use technology to come up with the answer, but you need an accurate answer. Yeah. And then you need to know how to convert it. Okay? So the next thing is how to convert those decimal numbers into a fraction, because that is where it translates to your tape measure. If you can get it to a fraction, then you can use your tape measure. If you get it to a fraction, then you can use your rulers. That's why it's important. Okay? So do not let the math push you back. We are too intelligent. We are the best computers out here. We were a computer before there was a computer. Your mind is brilliant.
We made the computer.
So don't let this easy stuff fool you and punk you into not pushing forward to doing something that you might consider challenging. Okay? Pattern drafting is It's people think that making clothes or doing a pattern for clothes, you think it's nothing because it's so easy for you to get. We're so wasteful in America. We don't have issue with clothes. You can go to a thrift store and get you some clothes. You can go anywhere and get you some. You can go on Shein. You don't even need to go to the thrift store. Shein's shipping is going to cost you more than the piece cost you. So you don't have problem getting clothes today. Most people don't. And Shein's not even quality.
No, it's not.
No diss to none of that. But you would make a better piece yourself. Just going to the fabric store and getting you some fabric. I don't care if you went to the store and got you some beautiful sheets and made you some pants out of some sheets. That's 100% cotton. You walk around with some Egyptian cotton pants. People be talking about, where you get them pants from? Oh, I made them.
Got my sheets.
Out of my, they wouldn't even have to know. And you wouldn't see yourself coming and going. So is that a rant? I don't know if that's a rant or
not. That was not a rant.
That's not a rant. That's just facts.
That was needed.
That's facts. Okay, so let's get back to these numbers. All right, so cheat sheet. You want accurate numbers, as accurate as you can possibly get. And the trick is knowing how to ask the proper questions. Okay. And so when you're talking about doing a pattern and you're taking a raw measurement of, again, we needed the waist and the hip measurement, which was the full circumference measurement all the way around. You needed 1/4 of that. So you can ask Google or ChatGPT, what is 1/4 of whatever your waist measurement was? Okay, you're going to need to be able to do those measurements. You will need a tape measure because it is the only thing that's going to curve around the body. Flat rulers are not going to curve. I don't care how you try and do it. It's not happening. Get you a tape measure. Okay. Now, all of these things, I keep saying I'm going to put these rulers and all of this online, and I promise you I am going to do it before this night is out. I will make sure that I do it. I've already taken the pictures and everything is laid out. I just need to put them on there in a post. So if you are interested in going further, you can get one. You want to start with a simple sewing kit. A sewing kit is going to give you a lot of the basic things that you need, from your tape measure to your snips, your scissors, your seam rippers, this is going to give you some cheap thread to start with. You're going to wind up buying better thread because there is better thread to get.
That thread snaps so hard.
You're going to wind up buying better thread, but it'll give you a starter kit. Okay. And so I'm really inviting people to jump in. Everybody needs a hobby.
Yeah.
Everybody needs something to do to kind of get your mind off of everything that's going on in the world.
Yes.
Find yourself a hobby. Jump into an art of some kind.
Yeah.
At least with this type of something, you can create for yourself.
Or for others.
And you can create for others. So it can go so far. It can become a business if it's something that you want to do. People would be the work. It would not be the pieces. That'll become easy. It'll be the people that you're dealing with that will become the thing that you got to deal with. Okay. So that being said, I'm gonna go back to getting this pattern done because I want to go ahead and get it finished. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back down to this paper. Everybody's angled to the paper, so let's get this out the way. So we've already broken our waist down to 1/4, and we know what we're dealing with. We've already marked. So we've gone over the 1/4, and then we've added the 3/8 of an inch. Why? For ease, right? That was the whole point of this conversation. We were talking about adding ease to the pattern. I don't know if this is charging or not.
What's it doing?
I don't know. I don't know if it's doing anything. You just come look. You monitor that while I keep flowing. I just want to make sure that they don't fall off.
Not charging. It's doing a wacky move.
Okay, so we have already gotten. So we stopped off at R to S, which was 1/4. We added the E's. S to T. S to T is this measurement here. To kind of show you. S to T, S to T, S to T is just this little shift here. That's another 1/4 of an inch. So we just went up 1/4 of an inch. And that is this mark here on the paper. Hopefully you guys can see it. I measure up from S, which is the waistline, to T. And why is this? This is actually giving you the curve. Because again, your body is it's a curve. And so as it curves around, it goes up on the side seam. And so 1/4 of an inch we curved around. I mean, it's that 1/4 of an inch up helps to give that gentle curve. Okay. And then now I'm going to, T to C, T to C. C was our crotch depth measurement. Okay. Again, as we have been building this, we started from A to B to C to D. We went through the whole process. And so C is going to be in your hip region, your crotch depth area. And so now you're just going to match your T from T to C. And you're going to do that with the hip curve. Where's my hip curve? This is what I used to make that match here to here. Okay. And in the hip area, we had to add 1/4 of an inch. Again, ease. You want to add ease. And so I'm adding 1/4 to the front, 1/4 to the back. So we're giving a 1/4 of an inch ease in the hip area. So when you sit down, you got space to move.
Is that why we did the crotch area to the floor?
You say it one more time?
The measurement that we did from the hip to the floor, to the end of the seat.
Oh, yeah, when we were seated, that crotch depth measurement. Yeah. Because you want to make sure that you have the right depth from here to here. Now, see, in a woman pattern, it's a little bit different. But in a man's pattern, because you're talking about men have their how you want to say it? Their personals, their privates. You need to add space for that. And they don't have hips like we have. They need depth, and it needs to drop low enough. It needs to drop underneath their sack so it won't be tight. You don't want anything tight. So that's the whole point of crotch depth for a man. For a woman, it would be a little bit different. So yeah, that was a good question. That was hard to answer though, because how do you say those things live? I don't really know. I have never done this before, so I don't want to be vulgar. People want to flag you for everything and have some feeling and some way they think about it. But again, in the world of pattern drafting, we're not thinking about body parts like that. We're dealing with reality here, okay? And when I'm making you a piece, I need to make sure that everything that you possess is going to fit in these pieces properly. That's what matters to me, okay? So we have to think of those things. I remember when I first started custom fitting men's clothing, men would always get freaked out when I need to do the inseam, because I had to take the tape measure from the inside of their thigh down. And so, yeah, it was always this weird moment. And I just got to the point where I just didn't pay attention to it. I just kept rolling through it. But it was always this weird, feeling that they would have. But again, it's part of the business. We're not worried about that. It's just like women when you're doing people's hair. You're not getting caught up into scalps and things like that. If you need to heal. If you need to, whatever you need to do, you're going to make sure that your knowledge, that's why you go to school. That's why you get trained, because the knowledge is there for it to help you serve your customers better. That's it. That is it. And that is all. All right. So we have gotten all the way through the steps and we have finished. When you look, this is the last step for the front pant pattern, adding that hip curve. So that has now been done. Now we can move on to the back. Finally! Thank you, Lord. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm just going to keep building out on this. I'm not going to start over. If I need to add paper, something that we do sometimes in this industry, if we need to add, we'll add by taping, add paper over on the side to continue to extend. I don't need to start all over again. Sometimes you'll see I have red on here. You'll see I have pencil marks on here. You'll see I have pen marks. All of these say something different to me. As we've always talked about, when you're doing a pattern, it's important to take notes every step of the way. Why do you need to be able to take notes? Because you need to be able to come back later on sometimes and pick up. Like last week, we weren't here. I was sick last week. And so now I'm coming back to this pattern. I need to know what I did last. And so all of these notes on here keep me abreast of what I did last. So that's why it's very, very important to take notes on everything that you have done. Okay, what each mark means. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try and adjust myself. Move the you all back a little bit as I set things up. Okay, gentle, gentle, gentle. Here we go. All right, so now I'm going to start. Like I said, I'm just going to tape. I'm not going to start over on a fresh sheet of paper. Because I could literally trace this all the way off, taking all of the notes away, and then I could go clean into the back pant pattern, but I'm not going to worry about doing that. Okay, so.
Because this is the front that you're working on, right?
This is the front, and so it's finished.
It should be the same thing as the back, am I right, without the crotch?
No, actually, let me show you what the back looks like. Since we're talking about the back, we're going into the back. As you see this image right over here? You see the front pant pattern. You see the front pant pattern. It's in there. But then you see these additional lines.
It's elevated a little bit.
You see the additional lines, these outside lines. That's the back pant pattern. Why is it fuller? It's fuller than the front. The front thigh is narrower than the back in a pair of men's pants. These are actually for slacks. So it's fuller back here. And when you think about it, when you think about the body, we're fuller in the back than we are in the front. Okay? And then you're talking about men. Men sometimes, since this is a man's pant pattern, for us, it really doesn't matter. Again, I'm taking my measurements. I'm a woman, and I'm taking my measurements and I'm plugging it into this journey. And so it's going to fit me at the end, but it's going to fit me like a pair of man's slacks, like trousers. Now, if I want to change and make them fit it, even more fitted, you can do that. But that's done. This is the block. You make all adjustments after you complete the block. So anything else that I want to create, I can create going from this pattern. I know I'll just need to go down. I need to change some things.
And different material will make it go a different way.
Different material is going to make it do different things.
So it may not look like slacks. It may look like some bell bottoms almost.
Yep. So just to kind of give you an idea, I'm going to show you the material that I'm going to be using to do the sample. Because the first thing that we're going to be doing is making a sample for this piece. Why are we going to do a sample? Why do we do samples? We do samples and we do sample fittings to make sure that the piece fits, okay? Make sure that there's no major adjustments that you need to make. So this is the material that I'm going to be using to make my sample piece. And if the sample piece comes out pretty good, I'll be able to wear these. Now this material, it can be used as a lining. It's a woven material. We always talk about woven. We talk about stretch. Yeah. And again, perfect for the summer, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a little, what kind of lining? I'm going to do a cotton lining.
Why do you want to put a lining in there? Wouldn't that be hot? Like,
you always want to have a lining.
Got it.
Always want to have a lining in a pair of slacks.
Okay.
Okay? If you have a pair of slacks that don't have a lining in, what's happening at the seams?
It's tearing apart.
It's pulling.
Oh.
And it's going to create pulls in it. Whereas if you have a lining, it's protecting that. The lining is getting the stress, not the pants.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. If you're thinking about a suit, when you go buy a suit, a good suit has a lining. Mm. If your suit don't have a lining to it, then it's not going to last very long. It's not going to keep its shape. It's not going to keep its form. It's not going to look exactly the way that they probably showed it on the picture. Mm. Because it's missing the body of it. See, on an image, you can make it look however you want to make it look. But when it comes to actually putting it on a body that's moving,
skin and muscles,
it's a whole nother world.
Like skin and muscles. If you get a muscles, anybody say.
So this is the material that I'm going to use. And this I have had, this is going to be my little top. Okay. So if the pants work out pretty good, this is my little top. And you see it has a little olive in here, and a little olive in here, and a little brown. You know, this is one of the colors for the season. So we're talking about the trends here. We're playing with the trends. And I love the contrast of print, you know. Like, people think that you can't put different prints together. Yeah. But I love this little Swiss dot. And if you notice, there's little dots in this. You see them little circles? So it's really interplaying with this print. So, okay, but that's my taste, y'all. So, but this is the material that I'm looking at using. So it's a woven material that we're going to be using, and we're going to be doing a sample out of that. And I pray that I'm able to get that cut out so that next week we can go ahead and get into the sewing of this piece. And then you'll find out why a fly and a waistband is a little bit more complicated to do than just sewing the pan up. You're going to get the pants together, zip, zip. Mm-hmm. 2 stitches, it's going to be done. 3 stitches, it's going to be done. That fly, on the other hand, is a whole nother something, and it's more pattern pieces. Okay, so, yeah, you think it's just this pants. Nope, you got more pattern pieces with the fly and the waistband. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to add some extra paper on the edge so we can just run through it. Paper, scissors. Get this out of the way. And I am just going to, like I said, instead of trying to start with a clean surface, I am going to create my extension. Do I want to go top? Let me see. Hold on. Let me take a look at some of my notes real quick. Okay, the pants, let's just talk through it a little bit. So G equals the starting point for the back panel. So G, let's hold up G. Let me find G on here. Okay, here we go. G. G is going to be the starting point for the back. See that? G. You good?
Yeah, it went out.
Oh. Okay. G is going to be the starting point for the back pan. This is going to be the anchor, and then everything is going to build from here. So let's see what else. I'm going to run through a couple. G equals blah, 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 2, 1/2 of R to K. 1G, R to K, R to K. Here we go here. Okay, so I need to add a little bit of paper up here because we're going to be coming up higher. Let me see. Hip line, connect. Okay, so I do want to keep these letters open and exposed, so I'm not going to tape over that. So let me put my tape paper. Oh, I'm sad they got dropped.
Yeah, it's my phone. I'm going to go find out what's going on with tomorrow, though. I've been charging all day for class and look at it and have 20% grab so much stuff.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my clear tape because I want to be able to see through it. All right. Another thing that's important in drafting is tape. Believe it or not. Because in pattern drafting, if you're missing something, you can always add it by taping extra on. Okay, the hemline is going to be the same. Make sure I've got a straight line to come across. Yep. And as a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and come on across now. Here.
So while you add this back piece, this is the back piece, right? And what I'm not understanding, I think what I'm getting confused at is you're adding this other piece on to do what, extended or?
Well, if you look at the pattern here, it's layered on top. This is layered on top.
Okay.
And so when we finish, like I'm gonna draft this back pattern piece in a whole nother color pen so you can see it. So when I get ready to trace it off to a clean piece of paper, I can trace off the front and the back separately. But in building it, it's built from the front pattern.
Okay.
If you look at it, come look at it.
Yeah, I saw it.
No.
I saw it.
Yeah, look at it as we move along, and then you'll see how it factors in.
So when you're building it on paper itself, when you're building it by itself, so what you're going to do is cut this out as far as tracing it and things like that, or are you just going to incorporate all these numbers in on another clean sheet of paper?
No, if you look on here, you see a distinct difference between the back and the front.
Yeah, but in cutting it and tracing it, how are you going to display that onto your fabric, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, I'm going to trace it off on the paper, on another clean sheet of paper, totally separating it.
Got it. And you're going to cut off the other piece.
I'm not going to have to cut anything. I'm just going to keep the original block, but I'm going to trace a front and trace a back on a whole brand new piece of paper.
Got it.
Yeah, so it'll be totally separated.
So what you're doing is just creating a block right now to be able to know what you're doing and know the measurements.
I am building the block, and as I'm building the block for this particular, for how he formulated this, you need the front to block the back. And so it's a bit, you see it continues on.
Yeah.
And it's on top of this. You see you're going to go out here. See, this is H. And you see on here, one of the things that you notice in this particular draft, this person decided to use numbers for the back and letters for the front. That's how you know that you're doing the back to the front as you're drafting it. But when you get ready to put it on here, again, these letters and numbers are going to matter. You need to keep them. So when I'm tracing them off, I know that this is the front and this is the back. It's clear.
Got it.
Yeah.
You're just building right now what the block is and your measurements.
Yeah. According to how he's created and formulated this pattern, this is what the front is needed to build the back. But we're about to build it right now. So you'll see as we go how this is all going to factor in. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to bring you guys a little bit closer. And I am going to use, is this green going to give me what I'm looking for? Well, I need extra here. Hopefully this green pen will give me what I'm looking for so that we can see front to back clearly. Okay. So step 1 says G is the starting point of the back panel. G is the starting point of the back panel. Okay. And so G is here. We're in on step. See if I can get you up at a better angle. G is going to be the starting point of creating this back pant pattern piece, okay? If you want to come around here.
I can see it from right here.
Okay, cool. Okay, so G to 1, this step here is going to be 3/8 of an inch. G to 1. So let's go ahead. We're going to get the clear ruler. Where's my clear ruler?
One of them right
here. We go. Here's one and here's the other one. Okay, G to 1 is going to be 3/8 of an inch. And the cool thing about this grid ruler it allows you to see through to make sure that you're doing everything evenly and equally. 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch. And this is going to be 1. And I'm going to hold off before I even mark it. Okay. Then it says the next step is going to be 2 equals 1/2 of R to K. See how you're using this to find this? Okay. So R to K. Let's go to R to K. R to K is up here in the waist measurement. K is the marker for your what? Crease line. Crease line. When you think about pants, they have when you iron them, that's your crease line.
Okay.
Okay. So R to K. Let's measure R to K. Oh, goodbye. R to K. Here we go. R to K. R to K is 3 7/8. And they said that they want half of that, right? So this is where we talk about the cheat sheet, right? So I'm going to try and use the cheat sheet. I can finagle it and figure it out, but let's just see what it is. So that, again, that measurement was a total of 3 7/8. Yep. Okay. Now, we were talking about the cheat sheet. So 7/8 is going to be 0.875. Okay. So we're going to do, I'm going to do 3.875 divided by 2. And it gives me 1.9375. That sounds like that's breaking down into a 16th, right? Wow. Here's 9375 on my cheat sheet. And so it's 1 15/16. You know what that is? That's basically right at an inch. So it's almost 2 inches. So 1, let's look at it on the tape measure. 15/16. So if you're looking at here, let's count the 16ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can make it even easier because 1/16 and 1/16 equals 1/8. Okay, so let's make it easier. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, up there to 15. So that number, that last little mark right after that 7/8 is going to be 15/16. 16/16 make 1 inch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make this mark. 1 15/16. That would be right at 2, right? It looked like I had already started marking it. It's right there. I think I had already started marking it. So, okay, so go ahead. We're going to mark now. We're going to match. 1, this is 1, and this is going to be now 2. So we're going to draw a straight line. Let's go ahead. I might be jumping in front. I just kind of remember from doing it in the past. So 2 equals 1/2 of R to K. So we got that. So let's go ahead and put these numbers in so we can be following along the way that we should and not get back later on and be like, I can't remember. Okay, so this is 1. And I'm going to put a circle around it because I want it to stand out. Why do I keep breaking my pencil? Okay. Oh, that's the tape. That's why. Okay, so now it says connect 1 to 2 with a straight line and extend upward 4 to 5 inches. That's why we added this paper up top.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so now...
No,
we don't use anything yet. We're just doing straight lines. Okay. So I got 1... And then it said mark it to 2. And they said go up 5 or 6 inches. So I'm going to make sure I got enough expand at the top. All right. So 5 or 6 inches. So this is 2. And they said 5 or 6 inches up. We want to make sure. Oh, I know we do. We got about 6 inches up top. But there you go. 5 to 6 inches above, right? Okay, so now the next step. 2 to 3 equals 2 to R. So we just measured 2 to R. 2 to R was 1 and 15/16. Mm-hmm. So now they say we're going to do step 3. Number 3 is 1 and 15/16. So let's go ahead. 1. It's going to be right in the middle. Now, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because you got all these markings, so you just want to be clear, right? So I'm not going to use my clear ruler in this moment because it's a little cloudy right now. It's a lot going on, so I'm just going to use my tape measure. I'm going to come back. Here's my 15/16 right here. Put that right on the line, and then I'm going to mark my hash mark. That's going to be mark number 3. Mark number 3. Actually, 3. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cross it off real good. And if we double check it, you see it's falling right in line on the ruler. All right. So the next step is going to be P to 4 equals 1/2 of P to G. Okay, let's find P to G first of all. P to G. Remember, we had that pitch in the crotch area? P to G. P to G. So it's saying it's going to be 1/2. So what we're doing is we're building out the back crotch, which is why it's going using these measurements, the front crotch measurements. Okay, so P to 4 equals 1/2 of P to G. P to 4 equals 1/2 of P to G. Yeah, because it's still recording.
No, I didn't even word. I was going to say back on as you was closing out.
Okay, so let's see. P to G equals 1/2. Let's see. P to G was what? Right at 2 inches. It looks like it is 2 1/8. 2 1/8 inches. Let's mark that down. 2 1/8. P to 4 equals 1/2 of P to G. Let's double check that. P to 4 equals 1/2 of P to G. Got it. Okay. So that would be 1 1/16 would be half because the number was 2 1/8. So we're going to do 1 1/16 is going to be that halfway mark. Since we're using green, let's stay in sync here. And this is going to be that new letter 4, number 4. P to 4 equals 1/2 of P to G. So this is number 4. Number 4. And it looks a little cluttery right now, but again, I'm doing this in a green, and these are going to also be in numbers, represented in numbers. And so when we get ready to come back and separate it, we'll be able to separate it with no problem because it'll actually be a distinct difference, okay? So 1/2 P to G. So we got 4 there. So the next one is number 5 equals the hip line. Number 5 equals the hip line. So on the hip line, we've already gone from G to 2 and also to 3. And here, this is the hip line level, right? This is your hip level. So that's already marked. This is number 5. So let's go ahead, write number 5. There. All right. Then we got to connect 3 to 5 with a straight line. A lot of connected dots, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really is simple. Once you get the front done, the measurements are already in there. You're just extending the back off the front. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it says connect 3. Let's read it again. We're connecting 3 to 5 with a straight line. 3 to 5. And it's already been done, though. We see that. 3 to 5. Bam, bam, with a straight line. Then H to 6 equals H to G. Okay, let's find H to 6. Let's look on the diagram first. H to 6. H to 6 is here. And the equation or the problem says H to 6 equal H to G. Then it says minus 1/2 of an inch. Okay? So H to G and H to 6. Okay, let's read that again, because sometimes, you can read it and it sounds a little challenging, but let's go ahead and take our time and read it again. So H to 6 equals H to G minus 1/2. So H to 6 equals H to G minus 1/2. So how should we work that out? See, this is a math problem, right? So we need to look at H to G and then minus 1/2 of that, and then that's what H to 6 is. Okay, I'm going to read the problem again.
Yeah.
H to 6 equals H to G minus 1/2.
Okay.
Yep. So we're going to measure H to G first. H to G. H to G. Here's H to G right here. H to G is 2 1/4. And then it says minus 1/2. So if it's 2 1/4, oh, I'm lying, y'all. It's not 2 1/4. It is 2 3/4. So if we minus 1/2 of an inch from 2 3/4, that's going to give us what? 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Let's just go ahead and look at the tape measure. This is a little cheat way too, right? 2/4 make a half. So if you're taking off 1/2 of an inch from 3/4, you're just going to go 1, 2, and that's going to leave you what? 2 1/4. So now we know what H to G is. H to G, or rather H to 6 is half of this half of H to G minus 1/2 of an inch. So that would be 2 1/4 of an inch. Hold on, let me make sure. Let me read again. Okay. H to 6 equals 1/2 of H to G. 1/2 of H to G is going to be, so with the full answer is 2 3/4.
So 1/2 of that.
1/2, yep. Let me write my little notes. 2 3/4. And so I am going to take 2 3/4, which is going to be 2.75 divided by 2 equals 1 I want to say that's 3/8. 3.75, yep, 1 3/8. So that's going to be 1 3/8 is half of that. And then it says minus 1/2 of an inch from that. So now we're going to take away 1/2 of an inch from 1 3/8. Yeah, I needed to go back and redo that one, right? We were going to have the wrong measurement. Okay, so now we're going to minus 1/2 of an inch. So that's going to be 7/8 of an inch. But let's just go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and use our calculator to see. So 375 minus 0.5 equals 8.75. 8.75 is 7/8 of an inch. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be And so let's start. H to 6. H to 6 is here. H to 6 is going to be 7/8 of an inch. So we're going to go H. I'm going to take my clear ruler. I'm going to use my clear ruler because it's going to allow me to see straight through down the inseam to make sure that I am on point. Okay. And again, I'm using green now so that it's a clear, you got a clear lines between the front and the back. And we're going to come all the way down the inseam, 7/8 of an inch. It's nothing to be nervous about. Y'all see, I was about to put the wrong answer and I had to go back and check myself, but we're good. Sometimes you got to double check. Even when you know, sometimes we read so quick or we're moving so fast, especially with numbers, which is why, you know, if you go too far, even with a computer, for you people that are dealing with computers all the time, if you go too fast, you just got to backtrack to get back to the point you started at, right? Mm-hmm. Even with a computer. So again, computers are mimicking humans. So a human has to tell a computer what to do. It's not born knowing. And neither are we, right? We have to learn. Okay, so we are actually almost through this front piece. So we did that. That was H to 6. So this is now number, let me finish this bar across. This is going to be 6. Use this green. And this is going to be 6. 6. Okay, so the next one would be connect 5 to 4. Connect 5 to 4. 5 to 4. And then it says and 4 to 6 with your sleigh curve. So what we're doing is we're about to finish that crotch, the back crotch. And then the whole back crotch line will be complete already. So let's go ahead and use the sleigh curve. And it says connect. Let's go with what they said, connect first, which was 5 to 4. Here's 5, and then here's 4. And then it says to 6. So we can almost position it where it hits everything. You see that? There's 5. There's 4. No, here's 4, sorry. 5 to 4. Let me double check something. Let's see how smooth of a curve I want here. There we go. 5 to 4. And then we're going to connect 4 to 6. 4 to 6. Okay, you see the curve? See that whole back line? And this is the front line. See that? Okay, so now we are going to the next step. We're not far from finishing up this pattern already. C to 7 equals H to 6. Let's look at the diagram. C to 7. C to 7. Now we're doing the out seam. C to 7 equals H to 6. Well, that's simple. We know it's 7/8 of an inch. We had to double check that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's read the problem again. Make sure we're translating this correctly. C to 7 equals H to 6. So we know that's going to be 7/8 of an inch. Go ahead. And I am going to C to 7. 7/8 of an inch. C is here. That's the crotch line mark. So I'm going to go outside of that line. 7/8 of an inch. Again, my clear ruler helps me to see through so that I can make sure that everything is on point. Hold on. Okay. And then we're going to complete down the line, 7/8 of an inch. Mm-hmm. Seven-eighths of an inch. Seven-eighths of an inch, all the way down to the hemline. 7/8 of an inch. All right, my cheat sheet. Just gonna take all my markings and line it up. All right. And we are going to stop there because I don't know. What time is it? What's the time?
7:18.
7:18. Well, we are going to stop here. We got pretty far along. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on today. TikTok, welcome back. I'm so sad that the phone died earlier. You know, technology is sometimes, it gives us, it works our nerves. But, you know, things are going to be better. She's going to get that phone together. She said tomorrow she's going to take it and check it out, have it checked out, so everything can be on point. Because she has class on Thursday to do, and she needs that phone as well. So I want to thank everybody for joining. We are almost finally finished with this pant block pattern. Everything again, like I said, is going to be, it's being captured on YouTube. And it will be posted on my page, Lawana Michelle Miles, on Facebook, as well as Kingdom School of Effectiveness on Facebook. And so you can always go back from video number 1 to be able to go this journey. I'll be doing the posts with the tools that you need in case you want to actually jump in and start drafting for yourself, doing some patterns. I mean, it's priceless to have your own patterns and to be able to build your own pieces. And not just for yourself, for other people, if you get that opportunity. Again, don't be afraid of the numbers. Numbers don't lie, but if you hit them suckers right, they will love on you. So take your time with it. Again, you always have Google, you got ChatGPT. You can always ask. If you ask the right question, they do give you the right answer for the most part, right? Now, I heard ChatGPT sometimes be giving the wrong answer. So you might want to double check that. I think Google will be sufficient. I don't think you need AI to ask a simple question about a conversion chart, because that's what you need. That's what you'll need. You'll need a conversion chart from decimals to fractions. that's what it's going to be. Because when you're dealing with your rulers, you need to know fractions. You'll need to know the numbers. But the decimals will get you accurate. It'll get you an accurate number so that you'll be able to get to the bottom, the answer clearly. And then if you need to have assistance even transferring, like how do you transfer that, how do you find that fraction from a decimal? You can find out, again, on Google when you're searching. So hopefully you guys come back and join next week. It has been an absolute challenge these last couple of weeks, but we are in it to win it. We're not going anywhere. I want to thank you guys as always for being with me, for Sewing with Moxie, where we learn how to create from the trends. And right now, pants are hot. This whole season, y'all, pants are rocking it. And women, men, slacks are in, making it casual, doing casual, dressy, however you want to do it. You can wear suits, suits and casual, make those casual. So, I mean, it's a lot of different looks. We'll kind of take next week. Hopefully I'll get a chance to, once we finish this pattern out, when we get to the point where we're about to cut and sew our sample, then I'll have some images to show you guys some different things. I am going to be, I did put together one is, show them up there. I did a little collage up here. These are the slacks I'm going to be doing for myself. I love these comfortable fitting slacks. And you see she's got them on with a nice little simple t-shirt. And then there's just some different styles up there. So these are tear sheets I've had for years. Fashion doesn't do anything but repeat itself. All of these are still beautiful. And then you can do your own. Get on Google, take a look at some of the images, some of the things that are out there, and then choose which pair, which style that you want to do for your pants. So I will see you all next week. We thank you for joining us on tonight. You all be blessed and stay well. And then come back and join on Thursday if you are into DIYs. Again, get yourself a hobby. Give yourself something to do. We can't be stuck watching the White House and all the madness that's going on. Get yourself a hobby. DIY is a perfect place to find yourself, to create things around your house. Upgrade. It's about upgrading, right? That's what DIY is all about. This is even a DIY because we can take things that we already have existing and upgrade them. So it's all about upgrading your life. You all be blessed, and we'll see you next week on Sewing with Moxie. You want to say bye? All right, peace. Peace.
Oh, it's still good. I want to know what we did.